Hey guys, this is Daniel from Valor Comic Services, and welcome to the channel. So today I've got a CGC mail call. I had these two boxes that just came in from CGC, and it took a year for these two boxes to come back. So with what's inside, all of these books were submitted under the economy tier. Whenever in 2021, when you were submitting books, you could fast track it or you could send it not fast track, which is how these were. And at that time, fast tracking books, it was still having a lull and everything. If you fast tracked a book, it still took probably 6 months for them to come back. So it reached a point where fast tracking your books almost didn't make a difference at all because it was still taking so long for them to come back. So these were submitted in October of 2021, and here we are in November of 2022, and they all just came back, which is ridiculous. Now, CGC is always talking about how they're increasing their turnaround times, which they are. They're doing great, but not for economy. Economy is a tier that still suffers. Now, you can save money by not fast tracking it, but is it worth waiting a year? Absolutely not. It is not worth it at all, especially when you've already taken time to put money into getting your book graded to begin with. If you've had it cleaned and pressed, you got to pay for that. And, you got to value your time, too. It's just not worth waiting a year for these things to come back. Now, if you were sending in bulk, say, worth of 30, 40 books, sure. I mean, you want to be cost efficient. But again, to wait a year for this to come back, that's trash. That's not good for anybody. That. Oh, what's up, Justin? Spotty? Yeah, I waited a year for this, which is just stupid. Stupid. Try to get these out. It should be 6 books total. Pretty much all of them are going to be keys. One is debatable as to if it is a key or not, but that's all about personal preference as well. Everything else, good stuff. So Spider-Man books, I think maybe 2 or 3 Amazing Spider-Man key issues from Silver Age, maybe some late Copper. Star Wars, are in there. I know there's some Fantastic Four, 3 and 4 books. And yeah, I'm about to get into it. Spidey hit says so long. Yeah, terribly long. Not worth it. But again, it just comes down to how you submit. They've changed their bags. This is a lot thicker, kind of more heavy duty bag. So that's nice. These are always good to have when you're moving things around and shipping because the cases like to slam. They can go like that. And next thing you know, you damaged your slab. And then you got to send in for a reholder, which could take another year. Definitely not worth it. That's the contents of that first box. Invoice. But some of these books I'm very excited to get back because I haven't seen the books in a year. So it'll be nice to have them back in my collection. That way I can move them. Some of these will be available on Shortbox. Shortbox is a great app. If you have not used it, it utilizes slab collectibles, especially CGC books, CBCS books. And what you can do is you can take a picture of your slab, front and back, upload it into the app, and then list your price. And it does all the work for you. It'll put all the item description. It'll even pull up comps. That way, whenever you get to price your item, it'll show comparables and it'll instantly let you know if you're pricing it too high, if it's moderate, or if it's a bargain. And if it's a bargain, they'll even feature it on the app. That allows you to just get a wider reach for what you're trying to sell. All right, cool. First off, we've got Thor 165. This is the first appearance of Adam Warlock. First full appearance, he's featured him on the cover. Now, this is a book to get in high grades. It's very tough. It's got that solid black cover, but it's got a classic cover. And this came back a 3.5 white pages. And the cover is one of my favorites. Now, I used to have this book in an 8.0, but I sold it. And I was like, you know what? I really miss having this. So I picked up a raw copy of this, clean and pressed it, and it came back a 3.5. It was listed as a 3.0, so a 3.5 I'm happy with. And from here, now that I have secured, my little door entryway copy, in here I can sell it, I can trade it, I can upgrade it. Nice book. What was I waiting? Where are you referencing what I was waiting for? And this. So since it took a year, I believe this book went through reversion because there's pressable defects that I can see throughout the case. Not to say that it wasn't taken care of to begin with, but when you have your book sitting there for a year, odds are that the fibers in the paper can slowly go back to how it was prior to pressing. And at that point, you've just kind of wasted your time going through the process to begin with. So whenever you press your books, you definitely want to get them graded as soon as possible to capitalize on that effort that's already been put into the books. Moving forward, we got Fantastic Four number 18. So this is the first appearance of the Super Skrull, where you can see him here. He's flying around much like Human Torch. And this is a really sweet cover done by Jack Kirby and came back a 1.5. Now, I picked this book up at a small convention back last year for like $50. So it was a steal to see raw to begin with. Cleaned it, pressed it, came back at 1.5. The value on that right now is still low. This is a really easy Fantastic Four key book to buy into, especially at lower prices. I think you can get around a 4 or a 5 for less than $200. So even at a 1.5, it's like a $120 book, which is not bad for Silver Age Fantastic Four. And this is a really sweet cover. I'm glad this one came back. The cover on it's detached, so 1.5 is pretty good. Now, this one is a really sweet horror cover by Bernie Wrightston, I believe. And I love that. Really good horror, zombie-esque artwork, and it came back a 6.0. Oh, nothing to brag about. It's about a $50 to $60 book, but it's a really great cover. It has Neil Adams works as well. There's a lot of huge artists that are featured on this. You've got Neil Adams, Steve Ditko, Mike Royer, and Bernie Wrightston. So House of Mystery 236. Kind of sad this got a 6.0 because it looks much better. It's got a very thick gloss to the cover, and it displays very nice. So that's pretty cool, especially if you're a horror fan. And next up, here's a really good recognizable one. You've got Star Wars number 1. Now this was a buddy's book. He's a local friend, and it was a 7.0. So it was already graded as CGC 7.0. We cleaned it, pressed it, and then sent it back, and now it's an 8.0. So it got a 2 grade bump for him. It's looking very nice. Newsstand copy of Star Wars number 1 from July 1977. I believe at 8.0, even right now, is around maybe $175 to $200, but increased the value a little bit for him and definitely created a better displaying book. So next is a very fun book. This book is Down. The movie was not good. Cannot recommend it to anybody, but we had a 4.0 Amazing Spider-Man 101. This is the first appearance of Morbius, and it got a 4.5. So a small grade bump, which nothing to brag about. Would have been better if this book would have came back at least 6 months ago. That way the customer could have capitalized on it. However, with the movie tanking and it being what it is, this book now is about a $300 to $350 book, whereas he could have gotten $500 to $600 just a few months ago. But great classic Spider-Man cover where you have Morbius smacking the poop out of Spider-Man with 6 arms. If you're not familiar, or if you're wondering why Spider-Man has 6 arms, he was doing an experiment and he injected the serum into himself, which he sprouted 6 arms. It's a really interesting story, especially going into Morbius. And the Spider-Man animated series, they took it a little bit extreme with it and turned it into a spider creature. But that's really cool. If you got Disney Plus, it's worth checking out the Morbius story on that. So this is really cool. It looks way better. Even though it got a small grade bump from a 4 to a 4.5, it looks significantly better from where it was. So that's pretty cool. Now, the biggest book in this submission is Avengers number 8, the first appearance of Kang. I always want to say Krang. In past videos, I said Kang, I said Krang. One's Ninja Turtles, one's Marvel, but it is Kang. It helps when you can see it on the cover like that. So this one came back a 3.5. And it was originally supposed to be a 2. So it was supposed to be a raw 2.0, came back a 3.5. And that is sweet. This is a really good win for him. I believe right now, even at a 3.5, prices are a little bit down. This should be about a $600 to $700 book. A lot of people are looking forward to Kang showing up in the MCU. And this is really a fun investment book if you're into that. If you're a person that likes to enjoy MCU spec related things, then Kang is a good way to go. You know, you've got the whole next storyline for all the Avengers movies that are going to be sitting around Kang the Conqueror, as well as all the variants and different forms that he has had throughout the comic history. And this one pops. Actually, going with how this presents now, it could be better. So it could be used with a blue LED light method. That's actually why you see this blue light right here reflecting on me. That's where I have a book that's going through that process right now. The way the blue LED method works is using hydrogen peroxide and blue LED lights. And what it does is very similar to going to the dentist and getting your teeth whitened. It will whiten the pages of your book. Now, people have had significant grade bumps in doing that process. One of my good friends at the channel, Charles at Hobby Heroes, he bumped a Amazing Spider-Man 129, which is the first appearance of the Punisher, which is a very expensive book to begin with. He had a 7.5 and bumped it from a 9.0. So 7.5 to 9, just doing a treatment like that, substantial. It almost doubles the value of your book. And that same thing can apply to a book like this, especially when the cover is white and very white like that. You do it to the front, you do it to the back. Could come back to 5.0, and now you're up $300 or $400 more. So something to consider. On the Avengers book, that year came out in 1964. So it's in that Silver Age, and it's the early Avengers key. You know, you've got Avengers #1, you've got Avengers #4, where Cap joins the Avengers, and then the next key issue in that series is going to be this one, #8. So, and the first 10 issues, you've got those bangers, and Kang is definitely one of them. Yeah, Six-Armed Spidey is really cool, especially with the storyline, with the animated series. They turned him into a monster. With action figures, Toy Biz made this huge, grotesque, six-armed creature of him, and it just looks really cool. It's pretty cool with horror, and I dig that. So yeah, we've got Avengers in a 3.5. We got Spider-Man 101 and a 4.5. Star Wars #1 from a 7.0 to 8.0. This one has off-white pages. Again, going through that same process, you can whiten up the back so it would have a white cover, do it to the interior pages as well, and now you have white pages, which that could also increase the grade on that. However, a year ago, this wasn't a thing. This is something very recent that pressers started doing, and with the results that are coming out that were undeniable, I had to start doing it too. Extra arms helps. Then we have this book. This book's not a key. It's just a really fun cover of House of Mystery 236 in the 6.0. The Fantastic Four 18, first appearance of the Super Skrull. Who knows? Could show up in a Fantastic Four movie. You've already got the Secret Wars and Secret Empire storyline coming on. Skrulls have already been introduced. So Super Skrull could become a thing. You never know. This book could take flight. And then this one for sure, Thor 165, the first appearance of him, Adam Warlock. And this is definitely one of my favorite covers. I love this. And this came out of June of 1969 with a Jack Kirby cover art. So really cool. I think that's going to be it for the chat. What's this? Hopefully he becomes up in price as he becomes. He might, but that movie tanked so hard, it's going to be difficult for them to ever recover from that. But I've said for a long time now, and this kind of works in junction with any kind of movie comic that you might want to be getting, is say the way the process works is a news headline comes out of so-and-so just announced to be character in Marvel movie. So then that book is going to go up. I think Amazon just said that Silk is going to have her own TV series. So now Silk is a trending book. Well, now a lot of people are going to be like, well, I need to hurry up and get this book because it's going to be the next big thing. However, you're already late to the party when that's happened because everyone else is thinking the same exact thing. The book becomes a hot top 10 book because of that reason. And now the prices become inflated. Now, if it's a character that you care about and you enjoy, if you just wait 2 or 3 months after that product has been released, it's going to go down. And the same thing applies to Morbius. So that book was up and up and up, and it was going to sale prices that it's never even dreamt of hitting before. Well, then the movie came out, and then that movie tanked. So now you can get steals on that book. In fact, I was watching an auction. I think it was actually mentioned by Neo on his channel, where he was talking about Amazing Spider-Man 101, and it had me start looking at up copies as well. A 9.0 of that book, which again, vintage cover, classic cover, really hard to get in high grades. A 9.0 today sold for $1,060 versus a 9.0 6 months ago. That was like a $2,500 book. So books are down, but then you still have some because of spec and everything I just talked about become trending upwards. So it's all about finding a balance and finding about how you're going to choose to collect and curate your collection. Because we all have different goals. We have different ideas and plans that you want to do with your collection. So also trying to figure out when the time to buy whatever it is collectible wise that you're trying to get is going to be pretty significant with how much you end up having to spend long term. Yeah, it is crazy, Jason. But I'm actually about to hop off of here. So if you guys have any questions about the grading process or comic books in general, if you want to get my thoughts and opinions towards a certain book, or if you want to get things graded, feel free to hit me up at Valor Comic Services. I'm on Facebook, Instagram, TikTok. Don't forget to subscribe, and I will talk to you guys later. Thanks for watching, and I hope you have a great day.